just wanna be happy, happy tonight.
Welcome back, everyone. We have the finals of Game Changers Academy October, presented by Verizon and AIM Lab. It's going to be VersionX versus Ariana Grande Perfume. So we have Ariana Grande Perfume being a winner of a previous Game Changers Academy, and VersionX technically having never appeared in a Game Changers Academy. But that doesn't tell the story as to who I think the favorite is. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Epitomes and Gompers once again here to bring us all the action. Epitomes, what do you think about this finals? Does Ariana Grande Perfume have a chance?
I don't know, because I feel like every single time we see a new iteration of VersionX, they like start off really strong, and that's just happened every single time they've started playing in like these smaller tournaments like Game Changers Academy. Like you see them in a few other smaller events where they kind of try and play it out, and usually their roster is different each and every time, and technically every single time they have been pretty strong when we see them, but it's not very often that they do make it to that finish line.
And Gompers, VersionX, can we talk about them too much? Because we've talked about them despite not actually having cast them. It's the first time.
I don't know. I think we can talk about VersionX as much as we like. Like, this team is very, very strong, especially coming into Game Changers Academy. So, you look at a team like this one. But also, you got another strong team, Ariana Grande Perfume. And I did talk about it before in the last, best of 3 that we saw. I think that this team has probably the best chance to either take a map or a whole entire series off of, a team like VersionX.
Yeah, they did it before, quite a few months ago, I guess at this point, so 3 months, because I can math really well. So a bit of different meta, perhaps. So this actually might be much closer than you might expect, just kind of off the merit of one team is signed and one team is not. They both actually have, I think, some similar results as far as the actual tournaments that they've played in. So that's actually going to kind of throw a wrench into things. Let's go ahead and take a look at the maps. Once again, kind of hone in the analysis for this upcoming final best of 3. Pearl is going to be our first map, so obviously guaranteed. And that was chosen by VersionX. Epitomes, what do you think about this one?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen VersionX play this too much, right? I think they just played it against Team Mystic Venus, and they were able to win that one out. And I mean, Ariana Grande Perfume, they also have played it very few times. I think Pearl is just one of those maps that people don't really gravitate towards. So I'm really glad that we're going to get to see that as like a guaranteed map. And Ariana Grande Perfume starting on the defense, I feel that Pearl is a little bit more attack-sided, but defense definitely has this access to very short rotations, while on the other map, Haven, also I feel a little bit more of an attack-sided map.
All right, Gompers, what are your thoughts looking at the lineup of maps?
I'm just interested in that Pearl, to be honest with you. Why would they pick that? What is the thought process going into that? I think Pearl, out of everything, is kind of like the most interesting map that you could choose, as of right now at least. I think VersionX, even though that being a new map, maybe they've put a lot of effort and work into it. So honestly, that gives me a little bit more confidence to say that this is going to be a VersionX map.
All right, yeah, maybe. I was just kind of checking the maps compared to our previous best of 3 with Ariana Grande Perfume having those stats, on screen displayable. VersionX even could have been catching some of the last minutes of the game because I think they 2-0'd their opponents a bit faster. So, but there wasn't any actually. These are going to be all new maps. All right, last one was Bind and Breeze. This time Pearl Haven and maybe Ascent. So just going to go over that. But yeah, back to potential for this upcoming finals. What have we seen from VersionX over the course of this tournament, Epitomes? Just because we have not been able to talk about them with any particular specific sense. They've always been off stream. So what can we read from their performances and from their agent select?
Well, Version X actually, like, they have not really had any struggle going through this bracket. They weren't the top performer, so they didn't get that bye round, while Team Mystic Venus did, which is surprising then in that sense, just in terms of seeding, that Version X was able to beat them there. But Version X has 2-0'd every single round that they have had in the playoffs bracket so far, and I think their roster is also a little wonky because we actually have Bungie from TSM FTX subbing in instead of having, I believe it's Katarina, also known as Triggered, who usually plays for them.
Yeah, okay, that's a very interesting point. Good to note. And I guess, do we know anything, I guess perhaps from their previous results, in fact their most previous result, Team Mystic Venus, was there anything to look into their Gompers that maybe Ariana Grande Perfume were able to do prior to this best of 3 starting?
Within Team Mystic Venus, or
Yeah, against Team Mystic Venus, were they the same maps played or anything like that? Oh, Pearl was the first map, so maybe.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I think in terms of that, the hardest thing, you know, to discuss within those terms is also like, you know, you got two really strong teams going against each other, and then you know, Version X in comparison to Team Mystic is like drastic, like in regards to that. I think Team Mystic though. Against Version X was a matchup that No, I'm completely fumbling the bag here.
No,
Am I seeing the
worries.
correct thing on my screen? No, I am not the smartest person in the world. Team Mystic Venus versus AGP. It was. So them in particular, I think overall that matchup, Team Mystic Venus definitely a team that is relevant within the Game Changer scene, but would I say that they are probably you know, making it that far into the semifinals or the finals, I would say it's a lot harder to make that discussion just because they're, you know, you have teams like Tactical Throwers, AGP that are relatively higher in terms of that skill set. So I think Team Mystic Venus is definitely a good team, but a lot more work that needs to be done. So I think AGP would have happened anyway.
Oh, just to give you guys a heads up, we do have some technical stuff going on, so a few more minutes before we actually get to start the finals. But yeah, I think just coming, you know, around your point here is that maybe there's something to learn from, you know, for instance, the agents they picked, Version X on Pearl versus Team Mystic Venus, but the actual, I don't know how to say this more politely, unfortunately, but the prestige, there we go, that's a good word for it, the prestige of the teams are quite different. So even though you could be like, oh, okay, this is what they did well against Team Mystic Venus on Pearl with, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to go well against Ariana Grande Perfume as well. Yeah, which I think is absolutely correct. I think we mostly can agree on that. But at least it gives a little insight, epitomes into what their composition is. Probably, do you think they're going to change compositions drastically between series because of the difference of teams?
No, I don't think that that Version X has run a lot of variation on their comps at all. The one that they just ran included a Neon as well as a double Sentinel. So I think that's the one that they're probably going to stick with, and it's what they seem comfortable with going into this tournament. And AJP, on the other hand, they run something very similar, but they actually do run a duelist while Version X does not. But I'm not really sure because all of these variations that AGP has run, they haven't really stuck with any of them. So they might be experimenting a little bit going into this as well.
Well, Pearl is still one of the newest maps, so I think we still expect some experimentation, but I guess we can't really say that it points to any type of awkwardness, Gompers, because they clearly let Pearl through. So, I mean, where do we kind of situate ourselves mentally about, does, you know, AGP, are they actually going to perform well in this map? Was this a good choice for them coming in fresh to a best of 3 against Version X?
Yeah, I think a better choice for Version X than AGP. Man, especially, you know, considering once again, like just a complete space that you have in terms of that skill level. So overall, I think the scariest thing coming into this is what can AGP do to kind of fix their mistakes from before? Because the fact that they had that warm up on the map like Pearl, maybe they've, you know, been able to talk about, hey, what went wrong? And that's one of the things that I'm hopeful for, is having that previous, you know, history, having the time to be able to discuss, having, you know, all of that down in your pocket. Is it going to lead them to victory this time?
Yeah. I wonder if we can look at anything from their last time playing each other. So again, 3 months ago in the closed qualifier for the Champions Tour, it was Bind and Haven as the maps played there. So nothing for Pearl by the looks of things, but anything to discern their epitomes from Haven between the two.
On Haven, I mean, this is like definitely a map that a lot of teams do like to play. I feel like some of them, it might be like less comfortable just because there are 3 sites. Definitely for VersionX, they are not able to stick with the team comp on Haven because the meta is constantly shifting around on Haven, especially with the introduction of new agents like Fade, like Neon. I don't know if Harbor is going to shake things up at all in the future, but for now, Fade has definitely become a staple on this map. But you also see Breach kind of shifted onto the initiator role on Haven as well instead of Sky or KO or Sova. And it's just really interesting to see how things change. But I don't think either of these teams have this really set comp on Haven.
Okay, yeah. Well, as we still are waiting for the teams to be ready, seems like we're about 50% there, guys. All right. I actually kind of want to throw in a question about the players to watch out for, because we, again, have yet not been able to see on this particular stream, this particular weekend, VersionX's players. We've seen a lot of Ariana Grande Perfume. You know, the highlights are. Gompers, do you have any insights to VersionX to keep an eye on? Who's going to pop off the most?
Yeah. Honestly, the person you should be keeping an eye on, in my opinion, I think is either going to be, I believe that, yeah, it's Emluo, Bungie, Slay, Starlight, K. Okay, so I would say either Bungie or Emluo. Bungie, of course, I mean, they play the duelist role. You always have to look out for your duelists. Everybody picks the best duelist that they can, but then also Emluo is always kind of like that person behind the scenes playing into that sentinel role that always manages to get those frags. And I don't know whether it be because they're so comfortable on that chamber and they're just doing really, really good, or if it's that Sage when you know, they have that wall, those slows, they're feeling that comfort of getting those refrags or what the case may be. But Emluo is always there to get the refrag. Emluo is always there to be able to get those frags. So I think one of those two definitely gonna be the people I'd say to watch out for.
Epitomes, anything to add or back up there from Gompers?
Well, I definitely think that on the other side, we saw Ariana Grande Perfume, Panday was popping off. On that second map, it was like wavy and crisp. I think every one of them are like very strong fraggers. And Australis a few rounds as well got a lot of multi-kills that really helped shift the momentum of the rounds. So I think that on Ariana Grande Perfume, if you see that breach being pulled out, and it's on Panday, you watch for Panday because they are going to do something that is probably going to blow your mind. But on the other side, I do very much agree with Gompers. Definitely, I mean, Bungie, a huge name coming into this Game Changers Academy, especially since we're missing out on Triggered, who is usually the person that you watch out for. Yeah. And you're kind of expecting that substitute to kind of live up to the original roster.
All right, well, great rundown. That was fantastic. So we know who we're going to be looking out for. We know it's going to be hype. These two teams have played before. A bit of a surprising twist. Ariana Grande Perfume did win, but that was a little while ago. VersionX coming in fresh to Game Changers Academy, looking for their first victory. Ariana Grande Perfume looking for their second. Who is it going to be? Well, at the very least, we're going to figure out with map 1 coming up. It's going to be on Pearl. VersionX's map choice. I believe it's ready to go, so casters, take it away.
All right, the map of Pearl, and this is what I said I was excited about, but you know what I'm more excited about is just to see the compositions. I feel like we're still also in the stage where compositions aren't set in stone on a map like Pearl. There's definitely still some surrounding theories about what can work, what won't. So, I mean, that's already showing with what we're seeing here, right? Like the KO coming out in cohesion with that initiator, that fade. And then we also see a Sage on the other side. So then again, this is what's so interesting about newer maps. What works for you?
Yeah, I think that Astra, people have decided, is kind of like the best controller for Pearl, but it's kind of tough because I feel like Viper could be good, but it's a lot harder to play around a Viper when you're on that defense, as opposed to an Astra who can recall the stars, replace them, and then has that wall for if you really need it. I think it's just the structure of the B side. because it's so long that no one smoke can cover any angle of it, and it makes B side very, very attacker sided since you need at least 2 smokes to be able to cover that walk across. But Astra, I feel like, is something that you expect since she's pretty standard, especially if you want a lot
Choose
of
your
map
agent.
control, and it's like such a huge map. On the other side, Astra Neon is someone that I'm really excited about. I really expect huge things out of a Neon every time I see it. And you saw it being played in Game Changers as well. You saw it being played in VCT. Neon is so strong if you can use her well, especially since they kind of buff that headshot multiplier and like raise the skill ceiling for that agent.
Yeah. Also, I had a point that I wanted to talk about. I actually think that double controller should be president here.
On Pearl?
Listen, we used to be very, very willing to run the double controller when Split was here. Split is out. Pearl is in.
It's
I'm
like
thinking,
so weird to run
hear
the
me
double
out.
controller on Split, though.
I'm thinking. Well, actually, I thought it was great. The Viper, you know, coming along with the Astra when the Astra wasn't nerfed. Even then,
Like
I
a
feel
pseudo
Astra
sentinel?
still would have been great. Yeah, like it was amazing what they could do with that because of, you know, people forget that the Viper's, you know, util isn't only a smoke. It's also a temporary damage. So, you know, you just have to learn and know how to play with that type of util and how to use that to your advantage. So I think that this could actually work like a Viper and at Astra and kind of getting rid of that Sage that they have here for Emluo and just using that to their advantage. So I don't know. I don't know. Here's my theory, guys. If it
I
happens,
do
it
like the
happens.
Viper. I do like the Viper. I have to admit I like a Viper. But you never know. You never know. Well, Bungie, just going to run up. Just not even sprinting, just running. Just like running, full running. And Panda is running away.
Yeah, already starting off. The only thing that you can do here is win out the fights on pistol rounds. In VersionX, they have the aim, they have the positioning. Wavy finding something. I mean, but something is pretty minimal in terms of how many players are left standing. Yeah, already done.
Yeah. Well, Kay finding that 3K. I mean, going back to the discussion about the Viper, right? I love the Viper on Pearl, but I think she's hard to play around because you can't replace the smokes. You can only replace that poison orb, and then you also need a lineup unless you have direct line of sight. And maybe double controller, I feel like that's might be what Harbor is for. You know, with the slow in the wall, and also having some of that utility, like the initiator-like utility, that kind of stuns, slows, stuff like that, if you know what I mean.
Where are you?
Slow pacing
That works.
for VersionX, and you can kind of see why they picked this map, and like they seem very comfortable with it. They're trying to play for the information on AGP. Okay, do they like to push up? What are they going to do in this round in particular? Because majority of the time people tend to, you know, have those group pushes on save rounds like these, but it does seem like more disciplined type of action here from AGP.
Yeah, I mean, we usually see them push out, but now Wavy's holding a corner with a shorty, which arguably is a little bit more threatening than having 5 people run at you with flashes. I'm not sure, actually, but I mean, Wavy actually isn't finding anything because they're just getting sprayed down through a smoke. Emluo actually does find that pick. Ooh, Plenty gets taken down, though. Still spray through, no Spectre to be recovered, and now VersionX 4v3.
Spike planted.
Oh no! One shot would have been good there from Crispy. Especially like if you manage to get the 2. I think right there it was prepped and ready for them. If they got the 2, they could have gotten Spectre, Starlight, just said whatever, have fun. And there was no fun there for AGP. But yeah, I mean, it's a risky one, but what's more risky is the Vandal out from K. I honestly do think though that this Vandal's gonna work out fine.
Yeah, I like that play from Starlight. The fact that she just plays off her own utility, goes for the concuss, and is like, why not? Nova Pulse, and then swings it through the wall. Nicely done. A lot of confidence from VersionX, especially in this round. And Ariana Grande Perfume now into the buy up against a Two Vandals actually, because Slays has taken one out. Mayu also forced off the angle in art. Lots of mid control being stressed from VersionX in these first 2 rounds.
A stressful situation to be in. Slays is just watching like a hawk, and I really like the patience that I'm seeing out of VersionX actually. Even if they're playing on that default, they still, you know, they wait for somebody to make a mistake, and they're not going to be the first ones to make it.
Bring them down.
Okay, using Prowler. Doesn't see anyone close to the front site, but this is definitely a much slower play, especially taking down Bungie now from Crisp and using that rendezvous. They lose that kind of high gear momentum that they have with the Neon, but you also have a really interesting position from Starlight.
Yeah.
Oh, not gonna come to anything now.
Get back. We'll catch them.
Yeah, you gotta understand what this team is gonna do, and it's hard to read VersionX, but it's also, you know, hard to win out a round like this with your Spectres. Vandal still in hand. VersionX just need to win the fight. There it is from Crispy, and they at least opened up a bit. But Slays is just absolutely nasty. It doesn't matter what wall is there. There is absolutely no wall standing by when it comes to their success, because Emluo closing things out nice and easy. That 3-0 is looking fantastic.
And it's a bonus round. Even with only 1 Vandal recovered, it's still such a good look for VersionX so far. I mean, you were talking about Emluo just being right behind, there to be the supportive. And Slays also with that pick as well. The 2 hero Vandals were definitely doing a lot for this team. And now Ariana, Grande, Perfume onto that half buy, onto the Sheriff with the half shields. It's not too good, but then again, it is on the defense. It is really tough to defend on Pearl, especially if you are kind of lacking in Sentinels, because I feel like Chamber is a little bit less of a sight denier than any other Sentinel.
I'm interested to see how Emluo uses those walls.
Yeah, I feel like especially on the B site, it's just like there are so many holes in that wall. That does not, kind of.
I like it though. Maybe it's like a quirky type of like thing. Let's see how they use this. That's my question, because okay, Bungie's still fighting regardless of the wall. So the wall up, Bungie managing to take advantage of it. And even then, it doesn't even cover the full range within Heaven. It's an interesting play to see. That's why I feel like I'm more attached to that Viper wall to kind of cover it more of that ground with the same enemy. Like the wall still doing its job. K doing a job even better. Australia speaks down. Emluo gets one. It doesn't matter. VersionX taking it 4-0.
And now VersionX, they have 3 ultimates available as well, while Ariana, Grande, Perfume have none. Crisp is taking out the operator, so that's definitely going to give them a little bit more leeway, especially since looking at this team, VersionX doesn't have any flashes, and that is really the main counter play towards anyone having an operator. Even like a concuss from the Neon or the Astra, it doesn't really stop them from shooting you, especially since the operator already shoots so slow. It doesn't really matter if you concuss them. And now, so I think that's probably a main point of worry for VersionX and Ariana, Grande, Perfume, if they can make the right reads with the operator, which they have not in this round since they have Crisp playing on the A site instead of B. It's a lot harder. But Nightfall does miss.
Double the wall. You know what they say. It works out nice and easy. Although I like this from Wavy, kind of just pushing them back and around. That was an interesting boost to try to get that boom bot into a different position, but it doesn't matter. There still is some time. And Australia's have the flash. That kind of just gives them even more leeway to, it's, you know, give them some time. But the biggest problem is those smokes covering up that angle. Crispy looking nice and easy with that. Flash out, there it is. Everybody down to 2-2. One more left, and all they have to do is try to get them off of that defusal. They have to peek in enough time. Try to focus it. It's nice from them, but it doesn't matter.
Oh,
there still is time.
What?
What?
Oh, there's no time.
I'm done.
0.12.
I'm leaving. I'm not okay.
No.
No. Oh. I thought they had that.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I thought they did too because you just had that player. I believe it was Mayu who was holding down the defuse, and
Yeah.
they were just so much trust in Crisp. But Kay knew that she had to go for the diffuser and not for Crisp who was holding. And because they don't have any smokes or anything, has a direct sight line, peeks out. Just needs to find one since the time is already so low, and that was nicely played from VersionX for the 5-0. Ariana Grande Perfume, I believe this is another eco round for them. They have that Sheriff instead of guns.
Take it
And
out.
Punji,
Yep.
nice first shot to get that player out of the game. Wavy now down.
Here.
Yeah, good on them to push back the mid push with the Prowler, but still, there is some insurity when it comes to knowing what this team is going to do, because VersionX very
Plant the
unpredictable.
spike.
And they're just walking in, nonchalant, not a big deal. The wall is so
Yeah, I mean, you also have Crisps just so totally stalled out by
Yeah.
those
Spike
slows,
planted.
and that's where they find so much value if they're actually hitting and someone's like peeking off of it to make sure that they can't escape after you know that they
Player
are out of
standing.
bullets. And okay, Starlight's knees kind of got taken off, but Panday's life gets taken, and it's just all left up to Astralis. Flawless for VersionX, 6-0. And this is just looking like they're starting to run away with it. Ariana Grande Perfume, we have not seen them use, I think, a single timeout. But I was going to say, if there was a time for it, it would be now. So, Ariana Grande Perfume with 4 ultimates available and a full buy. What can they do here to adjust their playstyle and maybe take one round over?
adjusting the play style. I think the biggest thing is just VersionX and, they're very irritating walls. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I genuinely think VersionX's walls are very irritating when it comes to AGP and having to gain that vision. Because imagine you're trying to gain a perspective in AGP's side, and then there's a big wall right in front of you. So now you have to try to find a way across that, try to maneuver yourself around. So I think that wall is definitely a big issue, especially with the smokes that we're seeing in cohesion with that. I definitely think that there's a lot more going down mentally here for AGP. Most of it, use that KO. I feel like I'm not seeing a lot of KO usage. It should be bigger. It should be better. It should be those suppressions coming down to stop these types of issues.
Yeah, I definitely feel like with the Neon, just one KO knife can really put a stop to all of the momentum that the Neon has been bringing. And it also is going to stop those slow orbs from coming in, so you can be more effective on the retakes. The null command is definitely going to be a huge factor going into this next round. And it seems like they're just going to run it down once again mid. VersionX just really finds this mid control very important to them, so they're always trying to push one of the extremities.
Down to stop them. And this is what I wanted to see, right? That util stopping them. And now finally Australia's taken a lot of impact in those types of fights. I want to see a little bit more in the future as Wavy takes a shot. Bungie just does not let things go. Although the ultimate not doing enough work, so VersionX in a 2v3, and this might actually be like the biggest chance that AGP have had in taking a round.
But still, Spike already down, and Slays kind of moving around very comfortably. Mayu wasn't expecting that one, and now both of the players going actually into art. I really like this repositioning from them. Ooh.
One enemy remaining.
There's a dink there.
Last player
From
standing.
Slays. Grande at 10 HP. Time is so low. Doesn't even need to hit a headshot, just needs a hitter. And Starlight just gets away with murder in that round. Slays does a lot there, especially being able to rendezvous back to main, and then you all of a sudden have a player both in main as well as in art, and it's just so hard to get a read on that.
The Astro to play some stars. Right there. Right there.
Oof. Time is of the essence. And by time, I mean rounds, because 0-7, and that is absolutely insane. VersionX, even if AGP get 5 rounds in a row, they've pretty much secured themselves a lead in the next round. So, and maybe secured themselves another lead as the wide swing comes down, even though they have two players playing for that contact. It's absolutely impossible. Oh, okay. Maybe this is it. Nope, a 2K not there for Panda, and that could have been actually kind of like a jump starter for this round for AGP.
Yeah, the Resurrection's available too, but I think they're already so far ahead that they're not really thinking to invest it here. Oh, never mind. Australis is just in a position where they never expected. And it's a Stinger to go down, and the will refrag. So now a 3v1 situation for Crisp, with only a Bulldog, 5 bullets in the headhunter. Okay.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, wow. Even through the TP, Slays gets taken down. The Crispy might be the winning condition here. Oh, and they saw it, but Crispy!
Excuse me, I'm working.
Doesn't matter.
The wide swing inside the grab?
We should have known that the run and gun is just stronger.
see
So,
our faces?
bad call.
Sorry. I should-
I feel like, I mean, was there like a concussion available there? I wasn't sure, but
Oh,
I mean,
man.
maybe the concussion would have been the better call in that
Yeah.
sense, so you couldn't get wide swung like that and just completely Ferrari'd by Chris. But that was a good play to bring them back one round finally. And VersionX, they buy back in. They've got a lot of economy left to spare. They've got 2 ultimates, but on the other side, AGP hasn't used a single one of their 4 ultimates that they've had available for like 3 rounds.
Bring them down.
Yeah, overall, too. From what it looks like. There's some weight around for AGP. 2 players left on A. And 2 players flanking around, so I think this flank is going to be big. If they can catch up in time.
This is a really forward position. It definitely might not be something that they expect. Oh no, they read into it. They read right into that. And even with the blast drive, I'm not sure Astralis can survive this. Look, what? Wait, no, they were both blind, and neither of them had any idea where the other was. So they're just gonna run back to the A site, which is probably the best call here, since you already have Slay's forward position, control over Art, and backside.
VersionX. They lost their wall
Spike planted.
potential there with the Sage going down. But of course, there comes the Nightmare. The Nightfall coming forward. No tethers at all.
They're just all on site. And with the Cosmic Divide, this is so huge. They don't have any damaging utility. And now it's a grab to try and get them off. Crisp? Oh no, not the, what? It's the shorty, but Slays goes through, tries to get one. They're still on the spike. Bungie goes and just takes Panda's head off. But that was almost such a good play from Ariana Grande Perfume. And you just, unfortunately, get taken down by a shorty.
Go, go, go. It's you gotta be a little over the moon. You know, if you're playing
There.
here for VersionX, because 8-1 is definitely like a really big feat. And AGP, they took one round, but I'm a little scared. If we take things 11-1, how would you feel, Tala?
That would be incredibly scary, and I feel like it's also like the worst score line because you cannot lose first round. You just can't.
It's not going to be easy to kind of come back from this, but let's see what they can do to figure things out. Already on the workup here. Starlight peeking by themselves, so there's no frag potential.
Goodbye.
Oh, that was clean. Less clean from Mayu after that first pick. But Slays trades it back, and Ariana Grande Perfume still has a fully made advantage. I say as K just wallbangs Australis through that screen, and Wavy tries to find a pick with a showstopper. Just nothing to be found though.
We'll catch them.
Coming to an understanding. What's right from wrong? What is right here for VersionX? I don't know. Picking this fight is a dangerous one.
One
K,
enemy
nice.
remaining.
To pick off Wavy, so a 2v1. AGP, they started off with a really good run in the beginning. Panday managing to find a handle of their own, so if they can pull some shots together, the only problem is isolation without the smokes is going to be difficult.
Yeah, Slaves just peeks out. There's no way that they were isolating these VersionX players. AGP now 1-9, and it's looking like VersionX, they might run away with this. They have so much economy built up. They have 2 ultimates still available. The resurrection hasn't been necessary in any of these rounds, and Slaves also having that tour de force, but has so much money that is just like no place to use the economy ultimate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to something. I mean, if they take things 10 to 1, overall, VersionX have secured themselves, I feel like, a win. Just the comfort is there, the play is there, everything. Everything is there for them. It's an easy game to win.
Mayu on top of a box here. Oh, hops off. Actually, back up. Bungie using the E-labeled to delay that peak from Mayu, and now the fast lane as well. That was really nice to get that first pick from Bungie, and now just rotating back around to B. This is a lot slower from VersionX. They are definitely still giving Ariana Grande Perfume their respect, despite being 9-1. They're just clearing all of these angles. They are aware when they don't have control of a part of the map, and they re-clear it very slowly, just making sure they have all their angles covered, which is something that has really netted them a lot of these rounds.
30 seconds left.
From there, this is good for them because they've taken out already 2 players from AGP. They've secured themselves a 10-1. 99% sure of it, but maybe Miyu has something to say about it. Nope. Nothing. And the post plan, I mean, it just works out fabulously. So the thing that you can kind of hold hope for is this right here. Okay, Crispy. The smoke's obscuring some of that vision, but maybe this is it for them. Body blocking if you can. Gonna try to peek themselves through. Crispy watching the wrong angle. No, absolutely not. Maybe this is good from Crispy, and the defusal coming through perfectly. And I said VersionX, maybe this is it for them. And they take that 10-1. But absolutely not. I just got proven wrong.
How do you mess that up? I mean, Crispy, definitely huge player here, repositioning behind the generator, but I mean, also the smokes from Panday. I feel like if there's 2 players you want in a clutch, it's definitely got to be Panday and Crispy,
Yeah.
Both of them huge fraggers, and especially since you have the smokes to isolate that themselves. But a 4v2 situation in which the resurrection was also invested, so they lost out on a lot in that last round. But VersionX, they still have a chance to get themselves double digits using the overdrive, which was just taken down with 1 piece of utility from KO.
Spike down A.
This is a very chaotic round, Gompers.
Last player standing.
Here.
Yeah, chaotic, but overall, you can really just say this is good for AGP. 9-3 is not a bad place to stop. I feel like once you hit those double digits, it starts to, crumble. K, though, in a 1v1, just limiting. And they're both low, but at the same time, I mean, there's at least some of that util that K can use to their advantage.
Yeah, K's got just that singular C's, but Ariana Grande Perfume Panday has 2 stars as well as the Cosmic Divide, and that Cosmic Divide can be so huge in a post plant. K kind of has no point except to play around the site, plant as open as possible, and make sure there is a good way to get themselves onto that spike. Slow walk is letting time tick down pretty low.
Yeah. And then it starts to get more dangerous, especially since we also have the tether. And, that's what I want to talk about a little bit. Having that in your pocket. Especially when time is ticking. Time of the essence. Now Panday having to utilize some of their util on their own.
Them in.
then again, is it enough?
Oh. Hey, with that pixel perfect haunt, since you have eyes on both sides, just you can kind of look through the astral wall, which is really interesting. And VersionX now having 10 double digits already only from the first half. AGP, I feel like they definitely didn't expect this from VersionX, and they are losing a lot of mental here because it seems like they can't find a way back in. Only 2 rounds. They definitely had the idea. They started getting it going on that defense, getting their picks and being able to play the post plants a lot well and their retakes a lot better. But now they're switching on to the attack, and they need to find a completely new strategy because they have no idea what VersionX is going to bring to them on this table.
Where are
Well, dinner hasn't been served yet, but completely okay.
Excusez-moi.
Oh, no compensation there, Crispy!
No way!
enemy remaining?
What is going on?
Okay. Crisp just able to find those 3 picks with the headhunter so easily. That was a huge mistake from VersionX. I feel like, I mean, the headhunter is kind of OP on the pistols, right? Because it's basically a sheriff with less kickback. But at the same time, hitting each of those in a 1-tap, and there was just no trade available at all from VersionX. And then all of a sudden the smoke fades away, and then you have someone who is watching there from the window and is able to take down one.
User performance will be monitored.
Up they go. Slays, knowing that they're coming along, and this is good. Playing that chamber, having that rendezvous set and available for them, and not able to use anything else. So Australia's catching them out, and this is what I wanted to see out of the KO. But it seems like it's working a lot better on the attacking side.
Spike planted.
Wavy. Trying to go aggressive. Chris finds one. But Bungie does refrag. That's the Marshall. Oh
One
no.
enemy remaining.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you expect. Ariana Grande Perfume, they really needed that first round to be able to get themselves back into the game, and now they've gotten 2, so at very least it's 4-10. Now VersionX have their buy up. Ariana Grande Perfume not looking to buy up themselves here, instead just keeping the bonus round guns, and unfortunately Kay in that 1v2 wasn't able to get to a Spectre to clutch that one out. So now Ariana Grande Perfume, they lost a few players. I believe it was down to 2 at the very end, so they're going to have a really tough bonus round.
Tough round, suppression coming down on it. Look at that, Slay speaking out, and the confidence is looking good for VersionX. The stun and the utility. They've given up, they're done with the consistent frags and the consistent round wins here for AGP. I mean, it pretty much could be over in a matter of seconds, but Crisp by themselves. They don't have the spike though.
Crisp, not sure if she's gonna be able to do anything about this one. Slay's watching for it. Ooh, takes a huge shot though from Crisp with only a Spectre here. Rest of the team knows they're looking to come for backup. Crisp does take down one, denies the flawless here, but Bungie is able to take that last pick and bring them up to 11, and Ariana Grande Perfume, they're on a pretty bad economic timer once again. It says we see that they have a full buy in this round, but that means they absolutely cannot lose, since some of their players are only down to a few hundred credits.
Here.
Yeah, not losing. Good on here, because look at Crisp for like just a second, 19 and 10, and They're just fragging. I mean, last time it was Pandy. This time it's Chris. I'm assuming because that chamber coming into, you know, this map of Pearl. Looking good. Already peeking out. Maybe too aggressive, so the punishment comes down. Emluo there for the refrag. Good on VersionX. 1-1. 2 players down. In total, the 4 players up.
Is able to escape with a rendezvous. K actually goes for a really aggressive peek. That still makes it 1-1, and now Crisp finds
One enemy
another.
remaining.
Okay, Crisp. It's just Crisp. The name Crisp. Crispy.
Spike planted.
It's just her all the way.
Yeah, 2 more picks for res here for Emluo. I don't think it's going to matter regardless. I mean, if they can manage to get a 2k here, then they could get a res and take a 2v1. They have slows, and this is good, because they can corner out the player left within holes. They're about to peek out. This is perfect timing for Crisp, and they find it nice and easy. 11-5, slowly working their way back up.
Ariana Grande Perfume now on the 5th round. VersionX, this is their last buy, and Ariana Grande Perfume, once again, a crucial round for them to win. But this time they have a little bit more economy, but this is more so crucial because you want VersionX on the back foot, right? And they already, I thought that they might have gone for a full buy into this round, but it doesn't look like they are. Instead, it's just a really janky half buy with some Spectres and with some shorties.
Okay, Crispy. Everybody's sitting around mid, so I think if Crispy peeks this, it's going to be way too dangerous, way too far of an execute. Crispy's luckily enough going to be able to find Emluo. And this is unfortunate for VersionX, because keeping themselves into the save round kind of pushes them back in terms of, you know, progress.
They're going aggressive even with only the Spectres, and I feel like Bungie is really good at that. Just that overheat right into the other player's crosshairs, which unfortunately is costing them now on the defense. And the defense on Pearl is a little bit tough when your player is short.
One enemy remaining.
Australis redeems themselves with a shot onto Starlight. Almost whiffed a little bit on Slays, but Ariana Grande Perfume at the very least get to 6.
All right. The days are done here for VersionX, and like they're continuous winning out. It seems like, yeah, after we switch the sides, the KO has been having a lot more effect. Australis has been able to get those suppressions a lot more nice and easy, and I feel like that's been helping a lot more than playing on that defense and trying to counter what they were trying to throw at them. But it seems like AGP looking for a very nasty fight down in mid, especially with Emluo pushing up. As a Sage with an op, this is completely new.
Okay, Luo just able to push all the way up there, and having Bungie back them up as she pushes all the way into mid just means that she can get that easy first pick. And since it's Crisp off the board, I feel like this is a huge threat to VersionX that has now been neutralized.
Yeah, VersionX still not losing anybody just yet, and I feel like once they finally got that buy-in, they could hold themselves together, maybe just a little bit more sturdier. No suppression there. Very close though, and that would have been big, kind of canceling out any possible smokes to come out. Maybe you start. The tethers come through. Australis knows where these players are. Starlight left in a bad position, and Bungie trying to assist, help them out. The 1v1. No, the 1v2. And another peek. Yeah, Emluo, nice shot.
VersionX finally get themselves as well after being stalled out for a few rounds at a time. And now on the other side, VersionX, Ariana Grande Perfume, they have a full buy, they have Crisp with that tour de force, and the last time we saw that being used, it was some pretty interesting movement that allowed them to get an actual really good post-plant defuse. So we'll see how that's going to be used into this round. And Australis with the null command, we have seen how many times that has shut down Slays as well as Bungie. Both the Neon and the Chamber really reliant on those movement abilities in order to win their fights.
Prowler and Bungie kind of creating a distraction. I kind of like that, the cohesion in that play. Okay, let me push this Prowler out and you can take whoever's shooting at it. See what you can do with that information. And they take out the Raze, which is actually a big feat. Because they're canceling out those grenades.
Actually gets caught by the tether. Gonna keep them in mid for a little longer, but AGP on this match point, it seems like they don't really know how they're supposed to play it. They are playing pretty far back because of that first blood in mid. They're hesitant around art. But there's an overextension now coming in from VersionX. They make something of it. They take down Astralis, and now they know that Crisp is in B link.
So long.
What? Ended.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, with the off still in hand, though, I mean, we've seen Emlo play. And the thing that I really like about Emlo here is they're just not following the guidelines. What a scene should be, you know, how to place those walls. Emlo's doing what works for them. Unfortunately, though, Crispy finds Emlo off their guard, so can't continue to really do too much of a good job here. But a 1v3, that could go wrong.
Isolated in terms of the fight, that's kind of isolated. I mean, Crisp has a wrapped around heaven now, and you take that first fight, now you have to have Mayu swing, but the swing is there, and the picks are there as well. Ariana Grande Perfume, they find their frags, VersionX. They are put on the back foot once again. It's going to be another eco for them.
Yeah, you got two players that are really pushing forward to get the victory. Bungie on the side of VersionX and Crisp on the side of AGP. But I think here with the three ultimates prepped and ready, you know, on the defensive side, maybe it could create more of a holdout, especially since we see some of those ultimates from AGP.
Shells pretty early, and the suppression knife actually does find Starlight. So the showstopper knows exactly where it's supposed to go, but oh my god, Starlight actually takes down Wavy.
Oh, and they can't even pick up the Stinger either, so they have to try to pick the fight with the Sheriff. With Emilo left alive alongside Hande.
You want to fight it?
Who we're looking? No, it's Slays. I don't know why I got that confused, but Emilo has a resurrection too. Although the thing is that everybody sit within halls. Slays now getting downed alongside that B main. And the only thing left to account for is the classic. Could they pick up a Stinger? Sheriff, there it comes. No right click available. And Miyu cleans things up.
Yeah, unfortunate timing for Luo, but Ariana Grande Perfume, they're fighting for their rounds. They're doing everything right, and they're making it so that they're not tradable in these positions, especially since VersionX was on an eco once again, and now Luo with the operator, they were able to find a little bit of value out of that with the early mid pushes. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out on this next round, but since they are playing on the B site this time.
Australia still has that null command. Prepped and ready, 3 players. Oh no, pushing up, down, in mid. And this might be a flank play. I'm not sure how well it'll work. I think mostly just looking for some type of pick. They know the iteration of AGP coming down in mid, Wavy down. So they lose that entry fragger. No longer can give themselves pushback over towards B or A.
For that first frag, Panda peeks
down,
right
mid.
into the crosshairs, and that's a spike as well. Need to do is keep holding the angle, and we can keep them off that side. Oh, the flash misses. Emluo is able to find one more. The null command keeps going. The fragment nade is out, but Emluo has pushed taken down though, and but with the flank through. I feel like that was on the back of MLUO. You were absolutely right about us having to watch out for MLUO in that game because they were able to get a lot of value, especially right at the end there.
A decent game for one, even though at the beginning it didn't look like it would go that way. I was a little bit worried it was going to be a shutout, but Ariana Grande Perfume at least brought it back to 8-13, which is better again than the beginnings looked like. And I actually want to touch on the fact that it was almost scary how the first 10 rounds are going to go. And then it kind of turned around a little bit. So epitomes, can you break it down? Digestible, one sentence perhaps. What changed between the beginning and kind of the end there where Ariana Grande Perfume almost brought it back?
I feel like it can be chalked up to like an attack-sided map, but at the same time, I feel like Ariana Grande Perfume were at that point learning what VersionX was doing, and also on the defense, VersionX was overextending a lot of the time, and it allowed them to get pinched by the attackers because there wasn't a lot of backup for themselves. So it was both mistakes from the attackers and defenders, but it was also the fact that VersionX, it's just harder to overextend on the attack than it is on the defense.
Okay, so a little bit of that map showing through. Gompers, are we from that first map then? Are we thinking this could go to the third map? I mean, Ariana Grande Perfume definitely found something going for them. I mean, the next map is theirs, so we positive, we optimistic for that one?
I'm a little optimistic for that one. I think just looking at the gameplay overall, right, VersionX, they had such a good game plan coming into the attacking side, but once side switched, I feel like Australis's overall util started to feel a lot better in terms of that, you know, that initial impact that I was looking for in the first place. So I definitely feel like maybe the attacking side is going to work out well. Hopefully they picked, hopefully they're able to play on that attacking side and kind of flourish on that and maybe figure out things on the defense. But overall, I think we might go to a third map.
I'm hopeful for it. Obviously, these two teams are, I think it's still well matched for each other. Again, despite how that opening looked for a little while, especially considering their history, where there has been a little bit back and forth between the two teams. We will go to a break. When we come back, we'll see if VersionX can close it out with a 2-0, or if AGP can bring it back, take us to that third map, or all is going to end on Haven. Stay tuned to find out as we continue finishing off the Game Changers Academy October Grand Finals.
What goes up comes back down. What goes out comes around. What goes up comes back down, and your day will come around. Oh no. What goes up comes back down. What goes out comes around.